Without a shadow of a doubt, those that run this world know the earth is flat, and through their appointed so-called leaders such as Barack Obama going back to the past, and the Prime Minister currently of Canada, Justin Trudeau, both mention the flat earth. But this is nothing new. Let's take a listen to what George Bush has to say back in 1991 and 1992 regarding the flat earth. They're always putting the truth in plain sight. Let's take a listen to what George Bush says. Again, this is 2 video clips, him talking about flat earth.
Imagine the hard time they've given Christopher Columbus. Voices on the right and left are working right now to breathe life into those old flat earth theories of protectionism, of isolationism, that there is no going back. Our new world is far smaller, communications far more instant, our horizons stretch much farther with each generation. This is 1991, not 1791.
And 5 centuries ago, a man of courage and vision set sail from Europe, searching for new trade routes and opportunities. And he defied the timid counsel of those who said the earth was flat. Christopher Columbus's voyage to the Americas transformed human history. Columbus was an entrepreneur, and the risk he took 500 years ago continues to pay off abundantly today. And today we still have to combat the flat earth mentality.
George Bush talking about flat earth back in 1991 and 92. I found this very interesting with George Bush International Airport. Let's take a look at what we see here. You see on the floor, the tile floor, it's the flat earth model and the dome glass ceiling, which is 100% biblical, and of course the tree itself. And like I always say, they always put the truth in plain sight. Let's get a still shot here, distance pan, and you can see the tree itself, and it looks like, of course, the glass ceiling itself, but it looks like an eye as well. Let's get a little bit of a close-up. Again, they speak through signs and symbols most definitely. This is the eye itself, the all-seeing eye. And the tree itself, as you see here, it's like this depiction of the firmament. We all have seen this over the years. And you have the tree right in the center with the sun and the moon within the firmament. And that's what you have here with the glass ceiling. And again, the glass ceiling, which is 100% biblical, like I mentioned before. And this is meant specifically for the Bible-believing Christians, the preachers, the pastors that deny the biblical flat earth, where it states here, in biblical cosmology, the firmament is a structure above the atmosphere, conceived as a vast solid dome. So some might say, oh, this is on Wikipedia. Well, here's directly from the Bible. Undeniable. Job 37:18. Hast thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong and as molten looking glass. So this is undeniable. The biblical flat earth in plain sight. Again, in Houston, Texas. Now, again, as far as Bible verses are concerned, as you have in the very beginning of the Bible, Genesis 1, verses 16 and 17, and God made 2 great lights, the greater lights to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also, and God set them in the firmament. Obviously, the sun and the moon within, as you see here with this depiction of the flat earth model, in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. So this is undeniable for all those, again, that deny the biblical flat earth, that attend church, the preachers and pastors out there. There's no denying the undeniable truth. And this is also, of course, based on reality, what we see in everyday life. Just as you see here, the daytime moon with the church in the foreground. Just getting a little bit of a close-up. This is undeniable. Just as these depictions show, again, it's biblical. For those that, again, believe in the Bible, this is undeniable. And it matches our reality. For those that don't believe in the Bible, it's all there in plain sight. Now, getting back to George Bush and the flat earth in plain sight in the George Bush International Airport, take a look at the display sign in front of the airport itself, George Bush International Airport, of course, and you have this plane like it's breaking through the dome. And here's a night visual. And I find it interesting, the color coordination with the blue and gold colors. When it comes to Freemasonry, this is 33 in plain sight. And I saw this as well, the 50th anniversary logo with the obvious dome structure and the plane breaking through the firmament. This is what it depicts. And take a look at this logo, George Bush Airport, Houston, and you have your 3 and 3 stars. Everything by design, no doubt about it. And of course, Houston, named after very famous Freemason Sam Houston, as you see here. You see obviously the checkerboard floor, the all-seeing eye within the pyramid. And again, Houston, pointed this out before, but it's very important to break down once again. Hewstone is derived from the trade of stonemason, literally a hewer of stone. So this is going to be a very obvious connection here with the surname from Scotland. The Scottish surname Hewstone and its variants in spelling. Basically, Hewstone, they just removed the E. So obviously, this is the hewer of stone, Freemasonry in plain sight. Everything is in plain sight. Just got to break down the etymology of many things, and it'll be very clear. Just like I shown before, when it comes to Stardome, or the Star Dome, just like the Astrodome, which we'll get into a little bit. The Astrodome is this Stardome. Obviously, an astro is a star. Stardome or Stardom, like I mentioned earlier, and Kingdom or Kingdom. So obviously they're putting the biblical flat earth truth in plain sight with these structures. And just take a look here again at Houston, the city of Houston, and the baseball team, the Astros or the Stars, with the orange star, which is orange for 33. Just as you see here, orange in numerology, Pythagorean to be specific, being 33. And getting back to the Houston Astros logo, and take a look at the Houston Rockets basketball team. Obviously a rocket, and it's almost like the launching pad being connected to the rocket itself. But again, signs and symbols, they always leave the truth in plain sight with signs and symbols. And it's definitely very important to mention this once again, as I always do in video presentations, this quote by Manly P. Hall, very famous Freemason: when the human race learns to read the language of symbolism, a great veil will fall from the eyes of men. So again, we get back to these logos, specifically again with the Rockets basketball team. And what do you see when you turn it sideways? You see the 33 in plain sight. These people are pretty clever in the way they operate. But again, it's so very important to understand symbolism. If you're going to see the truth of this world, and the people that run this world, they operate through symbolism. Just like this very famous Freemason, Albert Mackey, the symbolisms of Freemasonry. And this one quote from Albert Mackey himself: no science is more ancient than that of symbolism. So if you want to learn the truth of this world that's right in front of us, you have to look at the symbolism, like I mentioned earlier with the Astrodome or Stardome. Just as you see here, this is 100% a biblical concept. Obviously, like I mentioned before, with the glass ceiling, this is the very first dome stadium in the world, and they put that glass ceiling over the top, just like I mentioned earlier from this Bible verse from Job 37:18, where the molten looking glass structure above us, the glass ceiling, as depicted here. And let's take a look here on the inside of the Astrodome or the Stardome. And here you see all the glass on the glass ceiling itself. And here is the dome ceiling structure as the proposition of the Astrodome is being conceived before construction. And also the outside, as I shown before. Here's the Astrodome in Houston with Polaris or the North Star, or Lucifer, like I mentioned many times. And I'll definitely upload my video regarding Polaris in the near future. And also another interesting concept when it comes to the Astrodome is the rainbow seats that line the upper deck. And of course the glass ceiling, as you can see the rainbow seats under the glass ceiling. And of course the glass ceiling, what do you have here with the reflection? And this is obviously because there's a dome above us. So again, everything's in plain sight with these concepts. Understanding symbolism is really key to understand what's happening in plain sight in this world. And that gets into also the concept of the astronauts. And this is the grounds crew for the Houston Astros, wearing the orange, obviously, spacesuits. Completely ridiculous, but I find it pretty hilarious as well. Now moving forward, again, the city of Houston, the fourth largest city in the United States, with Johnson Space Center in Houston or Houston, Texas. Again, the symbolism in plain sight with NASA. NASA in Hebrew means to deceive. You have the forked tongue of a serpent, and this is a snake's head, and the snake wrapping around the NASA logo here itself. So everything's in plain sight for all to see. And just take a look here as well with the Johnson Space Center, as you see here. And I found this pretty interesting, where they have this entrance of the Space Center in Houston at 1601, and you have the fictitious ball Earth underneath God's created firmament, the flat Earth, truth in plain sight. Again, just the concept of duality, which Masons love to do. But again, getting back to Johnson being 33, as I mentioned before, you have Kennedy Space Center in Florida, as you see here as well. And Kennedy just so happens to be 33 numerology. So obviously named after John F. Kennedy with the surname 33. Lyndon Johnson being 33. And the runway, when it comes to Kennedy Space Center, you have that number 33. It's only one runway, and you have one end with the number 33. So again, they love to put the truth in plain sight. And here's another example. Take a look here at this so-called snow globe using stars instead of snow, but under the glass ceiling with the obvious space shuttle and the rocket. So again, they love to put the truth in plain sight. You can't get past God's firmament. And just another example of truth in plain sight when it comes to this rock band Oasis, and they show the dome structure, and it says, "Don't believe the truth."